Hello, welcome to another edition of Veritas Half Hour. Veritas Half Hour is our weekly television program where we look at academic excellence and quality formation at Veritas University, Abuja. I am your regular host, Cyril Ole. We welcome you to this week's edition where we will look at the activities at the Public Administration Department of Veritas University, Abuja. We have a guest in our studio. Dr. Moses Atakpa is the head Department of Public Administration, Veritas University, Abuja. Doctor, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
It's nice to have you in our studio.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Atakpa is indeed a public administrator. He has a BA Honours in Public Administration from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, which he obtained in 1985, and then went on to get an MSc in Public Administration from the University of Nigeria in Nsukka in 2001. He then obtained Doctor of Philosophy in Political Science, particularly in Development Studies, from Enugu State University of Science and Technology, ESUT, in 2009. He also obtained a postgraduate diploma in education from the National Teachers Institute. But apart from that, Dr. Atakpa was former head of civil service, Kogi State Government, between 2011 and 2017. He was also a former security intelligence officer with the Department of Security Services, DSS. And currently, as I said earlier, he has come down to Veritas University, Abuja, with his wealth of experience, where he is heading the Department of Public Administration. Dr. Wow, what a long profile you have there.
Thank God Almighty.
Yeah, I'm looking at your resume. You have worked in DSS, you have worked as head of service in Kogi and all that before you came down to Veritas University to head the Public Admin Department. How much of these practical experiences you gathered outside are you bringing to bear in your teaching at Veritas University, Abuja?
Oh, thank you so much. You see, when we talk of administration,
Yes.
it can be simply looked at as conceptual thinking to achieve a predetermined objective through cooperative effort.
Okay.
That much I have seen on the field, and with the banking of the theoretical framework, because when we talk of the society, without the bureaucracy backing up, you don't have the necessary results. In administration, we go through the process of leadership. We go through the process of profile in interpersonal relationship. We go through the profile on emotional intelligence. All these are aspects for you to know the necessity of humanity. And like one of the renowned economists differentiate between public and business administration. Aaron Wydawski is a renowned economist. Mm-hmm. He said the principles of management of both administration are the same, but the variance is in the area of their objective. So over time, my experience as head of service, I have looked at it that the service delivery is the key. And even in SSS, or else it look at the intelligence and all that security-wise, but it still has to dwell on the services to humanity. And for you to get the basic good results, you have to understand the tenets of administration. And that is the necessity to harness both human and material resources to achieve a predetermined objective. Whether academic, whether religion, the most important thing is to achieve results. And that is why we sometimes differentiate between armchair and trained administrator.
Right.
And that the issue in Nigeria now that we are seeing all over, one can say that if there are effective efficacy of public administration through effective policies of public policy, and this can be better appreciated if you have the focal knowledge of administration. But and leadership, you see, people see leadership in title. Leadership is not in the title you carry. It's in the responsibility.
Okay.
And unfortunately, because some people have not gone through these processes of, and like in Veritas, and over time my experience here,
Yes.
I've been a senior lecturer in a government university.
Okay.
Before coming down here, I am seeing the fundamental component of life being expressed in Veritas.
Okay.
In the area of passion, vocation, profession, and then the mission statement to better lives. And so you see the issue of character molding is multi-tendential. Both the teacher and the students the character has to be molded. But in Veritas, you see the two going pari passu because of the mission statement, because of the philosophy of the university.
So looking at your experience in the field and what is going on teaching-wise in Veritas, is it easy for you to blend, or is it a different kettle of fish that, you have just left the field and you are trying to blend, or you don't find it difficult?
You see, the philosophy of the university is clear,
right?
And it has a direction, it has a mission,
Right.
And once you get yourself absorbed into the system, you have to key into the philosophy. And as I said, aside from the conventional university, these missions university, especially the Veritas University, you have the fundamental component of life.
Okay.
You have conscience, you have morality, you have ethics that are being implied in the teaching principles.
Right.
You cannot just do things anyhow.
Okay.
And in the Veritas also, when you tell someone the stories, he forget. But here, especially in public admin, what we do here is that based on my practical experience on the field, here we teach for students to remember. No, we teach for students to remember. And then we involve them and engage them in practicals so that they can learn.
Okay.
But in the conventional university, you see they tell the lecture and then, but here we do involvement, we engage. And it is an engagement that the student can learn.
Okay.
So we give them these components of management that we have seen on the field. We bring it down to, and it's not to lay myself, we have...
exactly, I was coming to that one. I was going to ask you, apart from you being the HOD, how would you convince me and how would you convince our viewers that they should bring their children to Veritas University Abuja to study public administration rather than take them elsewhere? What are those key special ingredients that you expect a student to go out of your department with?
Exactly. Here in Veritas, in Department of Public Admin, we have the analytical insight into organizations, levels of organizations. And this analytical insight with wide-ranging exposition, both in theory and in practice. And then we'll give them a culture that those students that have graduated from public admin, some of them are confessing from the organization that they operate with understanding of what they have been, like as I was defining administration literally. I said it's a conceptual thinking. You must have the thinking how. It's not administration. People will see that it can be done anyhow. It's not. There should be that conceptual framework, and this is what we do in our department. We frame, in every institution, they have to score a goal. The goals are spread either political, social, and economic, and they are cast into a policy framework in terms of method, strategies, and resources to achieve a predetermined goals. These are tendencies that will impact on the student for practical knowledge. That as you are going, this in policy layout, you don't just in your putting through your political officers or your principals. Try to give them the understanding that public policy is not just to be public, but it has to be based on cost and benefit analysis.
Okay, result-oriented.
The result-oriented.
Right. What do you say to people who are arguing that public administration is no longer in vogue and should no longer be studied in universities?
You see, my experience, those people that are talking this thing, they don't know, it's ignorance.
Okay.
In the early 80s, in Ahmadu Bello universities, I was a graduating student. Okay. And we discovered that when Nigeria was moving, because they were getting people that are being sent from ministries, parastatals, to come to Ahmadu Bello Department of Public Administration to acquire administrative management training course.
While they are in service.
Okay. And this leadership training that they were acquiring then was giving them an effective and strategic leadership skills.
Okay.
That can keep them going to achieve the organizational goals. But over time, and that is why in my department now, we are creating a platform that executives in ministries, in parastatals, we are trying to give them the weekend programs, weekend privileges, so that it's not that we can get this thing impacted to them. As a matter
for the benefit of people who are still in service.
Yes.
You have a program that they can take during weekends.
And then it will advance. You see, the unfortunate things that is happening in this country is that things are being done anyhow because of lack of knowledge. It's by the time you enter the class, we have interpersonal relationship skills. How an individual has to relate with the subordinates and the subordinates. We have the leadership tendency skills. You see, the leaders, what we teach in class about leadership is that leader should see himself and see followers on the parallel importance. If you are a leader without followers, you are not the leader. You are a leader because you have followers. So consciously, you have to put into cognizance.
So this weekend program,
yes, that we are planning for, as it was done in Ahmadu Bello University in the 80s that I graduated.
Is it going to be for people who have masters or for people postgraduate diploma?
Like I said, for my experience, there are some people today that have assumed the position of permanent secretaries in federal and state ministries. Their field will not be public administration. Okay. Or that is of necessity for them to come down to look at the basic principles of leadership skills, interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, but the personal effectiveness of an individual. Okay. In the leadership, we teach about character, we teach charisma, we teach vision, we teach servanthood, we teach all these skills. As a matter of fact, when we went for courses in administrative staff college, ASCOM, and some of us with a public administration background, when we start giving expression, others who are from other fields that come, they say, there's more to be made about this. Yes. And that is why one is not, but at least in the service of where we have served, there is a difference between our character of operation and the character of operation of people with a different background.
So the public administration department, for instance, let me come back to Veritas.
Yes.
How do we use the skills we acquire, both as students and lecturers, to resolve some policy issues in the university?
Like some of, you see, the issue is like one of the lectures that I attended, and I overheard VC saying that my office as a VC is important, but the man at the last ground is equally important than myself. Okay. Honestly, as I am seated, I'm using this as a point of call that over time, even people who are in the VC or that director that I don't have the core knowledge of public administration. should be coming one time to be brushed up
Okay.
on the tenets of administration. Because management, look at simple, but is a conscious discipline that emphasizes the effective and efficient relationship with the humankind. And that is why we said, even the university, like you asked, we are calling that over time to time, they should call on the Department of Government to give interpersonal relationship lectures, leadership lectures, emotional intelligence. They may read it from the paper point, but like as I said, in our department, based on my practical experience on the field.
And the other staff there too.
Yes, and my staffs, what we do departmentally is that we teach for students to remember, and then we engage, we involve for them to learn. Because what we are giving out to them, we want it to be impacted in their lives. So that when they go out, their conduct should be different from other people who are not...
looking at the crisis of insecurity in Nigeria, for instance,
Yes.
how do you people, public administrators, come in suggesting ways to resolve the crisis of insecurity we have in Nigeria?
You see, let me tell you, sir.
Yes.
When I tell you that efficacy of public policy is dependent on politics of public policy.
Okay.
You see, if you had Professor Jega, he's saying that the problem we're having in Nigeria is leaders who doesn't have vision. I tell you the truth, this is we have so many crises that are within the political system. I will name them. We have identity crisis. We have participation crisis. We have penetration crisis. We have integration crisis. These things, by scholarly acquaintance, it can be this. Because as long as, are you getting me, sir? There is course we are teaching in public administration. We call it development administration. As long as the poverty level increases, you know, when you talk of development, it's not just a budget pronouncement. When you look at development, is income reduction in absolute poverty. One, a reduction in income inequality. Two, reduction in unemployment. These indices we teach students who are going at, you know, in your advising for government to arrive at a position. But what we are saying now is that there are gaps between the government and the people.
And that's why what is causing the crisis
is the primary consequences of what I'm telling you is what we are seeing. That's the primary consequences of the gaps between the government and the people. The primary consequences is what, if you look at when you are going out on that Law School Road, that junction, go there now. If you are coming there to eat a plate of food, if you are not finished, where you see a man rushing over to come and pick it. Those people, they are not schooling now. And then when they grow up to be any little this thing, they become so it is an instrument of public policy through the institution of public administration. We are advising that government should invest in education, it should develop education, and to manage education. And importantly, these mission schools that are combining conscience, morality, vocation, passion, government should give a kind of subvention to missionary schools. Because whether you train somebody technologically without character,
something is missing.
Beauty can take somebody to marriage. If there is no character, it will fail. Knowledge can take you to a position, but if there is no character, it will fail. And when they are awarding certificates in university, they say in character and in learning. But if you go to some of these conventional universities, you see everybody do this anyhow. But in Veritas, even if you are a lecturer, you have a code of conduct. Right. You are guided. So since the character reformation is emphasized in mission schools, I call on the government. Because you see, if you look at Japanese development, Japanese industrial, it was as bad before 1868, before Meiji Restoration. Japan economy was a closed economy. But because they came on with a philosophy that life should have a meaning, guided by the leadership and the component of the society, they embraced this philosophy. And the philosophy is that their life must be meaningful. And go to Japan today. Japan is not only advancing technologically, they are advancing because they have philosophy of character, philosophy of purpose, philosophy of hope. But here in this country, a lot of things are happening. So it is my calling that this character and lender said in the opening of this, Veritas is a mission school. The government should be able to give attention to some of these who are building characters. Because once the character is reformed, then other things can follow. But if other things before character, it's not working. We have the other countries that are evolving in development because it is being backed up by a very reasonable and fundamental philosophy. That is not. Go to this. I was going to Niger to deliver a paper in one of the universities in the Republic, and we enter somewhere. Somebody say, "Oga, please, this place is for pedestrian. Please, you have a car. Go this way." No amount of begging. Nigeria should have, if the character, molding of character is highly emphasized. We are doing it in our own department, as I told you. We are teaching on character. We are teaching on charisma. We are teaching on competencies. We are teaching on interpersonal skills. When you see some of us, no matter where we have, all glory to God, we see our human being as important like ourselves.
So we should go back to those days.
Yes.
When in primary and secondary schools, we were taught civic education.
Exactly.
Basically, I think that's what we should
go back to. And until we go back, that is done, no, I bet you, nothing is working. Over the time, you see, my brother, it's a very, very pathetic situation. We are having insecurity. The insecurity, they are saying there should be more vote to the military, more vote to the military. But is that the solution? The solution is that if there is an emphasized philosophy of reasoning, philosophy of character, honestly, we'll get somewhere. And that is why, honestly, having half instinct from with the other federal and state university before coming here, I see this place because this place you don't do things anyhow. You are highly guided by the philosophy of the institution.
Right.
And as the lecturer and the workers are guided by the philosophy strictly, it goes down the line. And so one is safe to say that if you graduate from Veritas, you are graduating in character and in learning.
Okay.
But in conventional university, you graduate in learning.
In more or
less of learning and character on paper.
Okay, is there a way you are keeping tabs on those who have graduated to know how well they fit into the society,
that is why,
having left?
Exactly. That is why I told you in part that some of them are confessing to us that their organizations are looking at them with a difference.
Okay.
In terms of behavior, or on a comparative terms with their colleagues, because of the conduct of their persons. And that's why we tell them in class, when we are teaching them administrative behavior, we tell them that administration is not on shoulder. Administration is what you carry. Administration is not much noise you make, but the much impact you make. And we are appreciating God Almighty that when they send to us, some of them that are working in NGO, some of them that have gotten themselves into banks, they are saying that all that people were teaching us in class is being appreciated outside there.
So there is that type of feedback from your former students?
Yes, we get it. 2 sets now we are having that feedback.
Okay.
And those that are current, even some of them that are in the religion, will tell you they are learning from the traits will tell them. And like as I told you, these traits are that you talk of in those days when they're teaching us on civic, they should bring back those
civic education.
But in Veritas, in Department of Public Administration, we have introduced. we built it into the cost structure. Go back to the history. You see people like William Ademolaku, who was the Western Permanent Secretary in Western Region. He was the backbone of Awolowo. Administration is the key. If you look at it critically, he defined it that people should have a cooperative effort, but their capacity, their abilities, their perception are different. But with your technical knowledge, you should be able to bring them together and manage. And one of the problems we're having in Nigeria is leadership question.
Right.
Leadership question. And this leadership question, we are addressing it in the present class curriculum of public administration. By the time any of our graduating students will find themselves in any leadership, they will do well. Because we are giving them the platform that it is not in the name, it's in the responsibility.
Finally, Doctor, before we call it a day, let's look at how VERITAS University Abuja can benefit from the experiences of some of your students who have already graduated and the ones who will graduate. Is there a way we can put them together and use them as point of contacts to help us maybe do papers, seminar papers, position papers that will help be useful to the administration and management of VERITAS University Abuja?
And like as I told you in part, if you have not forgotten, I said even from VC down to anywhere,
right,
who are not public administrators, they need to be inculcated. They need to be inducted to the tenets of public administration. It's more than what they are saying. The understanding of humanity, the understanding of the perception and attitude that needs to be harnessed in a single line for productive effort. So if that opportunity is given, you see we can draw these experiences to come together and make some contributions in the field of public administration to humanity and to VERITAS.
Well, that's the way we have to leave it there for now because of time or lack of it thereof. I've been talking with Dr. Moses Atakwa, who is the head of Department of Public Administration at VERITAS University, Abuja. He has helped us to understudy and understand what is happening in his department and in the larger society. Doctor, it's been nice having you in our studio.
Thank you, sir.
We will call you back at some point so that we will continue this discussion.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, viewers, for watching us. It's a nice program. Keep a date with us for a fresh edition. My name is Cyril Ole. Thank you for watching.